Hello everyone, welcome back to Lily Lulu. My name's Karen and I'd like to also say a very warm welcome to the new subscribers that have signed up over the last couple of days. I noticed this morning that my little subscriber count has gone up, so thank you very much. Your support is really appreciated and it does make a huge difference to a new channel like mine. So I do really appreciate you spending your time with me, and obviously that goes for anybody who's returning as well. Again, I really do appreciate the support. That I know there's lots of channels out there that you could be watching, so I'm very touched that you've chosen to subscribe to mine, so thank you very much. Right, well, I've come back today to work on the recycled packaging journal a bit more. This is how far we got last time. I haven't done anything more with it since. Now, I had this strip of fabric left over of what I'd used to cover the outside, and I really like the idea of using that down the middle there to attach my papers. So I haven't done that before. I usually use it's quite heavy, either heavy paper or light cardstock to attach my signatures to my journals. But this is, I'm doing lots of things in this journal that I've never done before. And as it's just for me, it's an ideal time to play around and experiment, because if it goes wrong, it's my journal. I can just put it right straight away. I wouldn't like to send a journal off to somebody that I wasn't sure how these things were going to work, and hear later that everything fell apart or something horrible like that. So I think I'll have a go at that in this journal. And then what I also have here is more packaging paper. I've got all these different types of packaging papers here. I'm going to use these for my pages. Originally I did intend to use tea-dyed papers, but I thought, well, as we're making a recycled journal and the cover's all from recycled packaging, why don't I do the same for the inside as well? So I've got, this is how big my journal is. So what I need to do is go through and tear my papers down to approximately the right size for the journal. So I'm going to do that now. This one's torn here already, so I will use, oh, it's got a nice handy crease mark there where I can, oh, I've got all strings from that journal flying about everywhere. Now, I'm not going to worry in this journal whether, I hope you can hear me over the tearing. I'm not sure how loud that would be on the camera. I'm not going to worry too much about the sizes being perfect or anything like that, because I can make pockets, I can fold the pages. So just initially, I'm just going to tear these papers down to roughly the size I want them to be. Now, some of the, am I in frame? Just about. This is that sort of grey paper that comes in packaging sometimes. And some of these, this grey paper is not as sturdy as the brown paper. So I'm not sure how well it's going to stand up, during use. But if I put something in there and it doesn't work, I'll just move whatever I put in there. This is more, it's a smoother paper. It's not that really rough paper. Most of this is Amazon put my teeth in. Most of this is Amazon packaging, but not all of it. This is some brown paper. I think that was in an Amazon packet. That's more brown paper. Some of this is perforated, so again, I'll have to be careful. Obviously, I'll use that as small pages, but I quite like the idea of having different sized pages in this journal. That's some more of the brown Amazon paper, and so is that. And then this is the grey paper again that's much thinner and feels less sturdy. So I'm not sure how many pages I'm going to have in each signature and how many signatures I'm going to have. So I'm just going to start tearing these down and see how we go. So really I should get one that's of you know, the biggest size to be a template. So that would be about there. So if I tear that one down just inside there, oops. And all these extra bits and pieces I can use for collaging, or maybe even to make the ephemera that's going to be going inside the journal. I don't know at the moment, so I want to make sure all my papers are smaller than that or can be folded to that size. I don't think I really want many folds in this book, because the idea is I'm using it to I don't know if you've seen my earlier videos, but what I'm intending for this book is to use it as an ideas book. So if I come across, you know, a video or a Pinterest pin or something like that where I've seen something that I want to have a go at making, I want to make it and keep it in this book together with, you know, instructions, how I did, notes of how I did it, where I got the idea from, if I did anything different, so that you know, I can give people credit when I come back to make things. And I've got a place, you know, if I'm stuck for ideas when I'm working on something, I've got everything in one place where I can just look and get some inspiration as to what to do next. So that's the general idea. So really the pages in this book just need to be pages on the whole, because no, I'm getting my two piles muddled up here now. That's my book pile and that's my spare pile. Yeah, as I say, that's just about the right width. I don't really want to be making pockets of the pages, because it's going to be a case of, you know, making pockety ideas and then putting things in the pockets that I've made some other ideas. I feel like I'm waffling there and not making a lot of sense, but hopefully you get the gist of what I'm doing. So I don't know if these are all roughly the right width. I think they are. So stick that there. That's about there. So this is really different for me to be so just go for it and do it. I normally, when I make my journals, I'm normally quite precise. I do measure things. You know, when I do a binding, it's all my holes are measured and punched in specific places to make sure everything's as straight as it can be. Whereas with this, I'm planning to just see what happens. Just go for it and see how it turns out. So, and this is a nice big piece of paper. So if we tear that, I've said, oh, I don't care if these pages are all different sizes, but it looks like a lot of these are going to be roughly the same size. So this feels like a nicer weight page, this one. So I've got more there if I want any more of those types of pages. Now this one's going to be a shorter page. I'm not going to bother straightening that edge up or anything at the moment. I don't think. Where am I going to rip that one? Using this the wrong way round. More scraps. I'm going to put some of this. This is this perforated paper. I'm just going to put a few of those in just as they are. I know they're smaller, but as I say, I don't mind that. And they are very crinkly, but I think it's going to be interesting to have a journal like that, because as I say, it's something I've never done anything like this before. Now Max is winding up to bark, I can tell. Max, in your bed, go and lay down, be a good boy. So if he starts and he's making too much noise, I'll have to just pause. I think there's people walking through the alleyway and he can see their shadows from the back door. So I hope everyone's well. It's quite nice weather here, so it's extremely windy. I got so blown about walking the dog earlier, but yesterday I took the dog for a walk and I got absolutely soaked through to my skin. My coat is still wet. I had to literally strip off when I got home. Even my underwear was soaking wet. So it's nice today. The sun's out, even though it's very windy and the wind is quite cold. But it's warm if you can get in sheltered a bit out of the sun. So here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 pages. So I could do 3 signatures with 6 pages each. So I'm just trying to work out what's the same paper and what isn't. Let's sort that out and see what it looks like. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So what I'm going to do now is just fold all these in half and then just sort of arrange them into signatures and see what they look like. So that's 2. Which way is that going to be? I think it's going to go that way. So I couldn't remember what I'd done there for a minute, which way I'd decided that was going. So that's 3, 4, 5, and this was my template piece. 6, so that would be 1 signature. I hope this is not too boring, but as I say, I've never done anything quite like this before. Not that it's anything difficult, it's just different for me, and I just thought it would be interesting. You know, some people might find it interesting to come along on the journey of seeing this book created, and it might inspire you to use things you might not normally use in a way you might not normally use them, because that's exactly what I'm doing here. Now, I always use recycled elements in my journals, but I've never done this before. I've never used these pages. I have used packaging before to make a journal, but not in the way that I've done this one. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it comes out. You know, I might do it and hate it and think, oh, that was a waste of time, I'm not doing that again. But it's not really a waste of time, because you always learn something, even if it's what you don't like. And, you know, you never know what other ideas you're going to trigger for yourself when you do things like this that you've never done before. I think it just, you know, gets you out of your comfort zone a bit and gets you thinking about things in a different way. So I am going to take that piece off, because that's perforated there, so that will come off by itself over time if I don't remove it. So right, so I've now got 3 signatures here, so now I need to arrange the papers in each one in the order I want them to be. So I don't want 2 the same colour next to each other, and I don't want 2 the same size next to each other. So, well, I say 2 the same colour next to each other, but obviously some of this will be similar. So what have I got there? 1, 2, 3. So that actually might look nice on there. And so some of these pages are going to be very flimsy, so this might not work at all, but I fancied having a go, so that's what I'm doing. So obviously I'm going to have to make sure that they fit within the journal. And this is another thing, I haven't done staggered page sizes like this before either. My pages are all very uniform usually, so this is something completely different for me. So that's 2. Right, so that's how my signatures are looking at the moment. So I need to see what they'll look like in here. And obviously going to be too wide. I'm wondering, because they're very thin papers, some of them, whether to trim down the edges or whether to just fold back the edges to make them a little bit, to strengthen them a little bit. It's like this paper is very thin. Or should I go incorporate plan A and intersperse some tea-dyed paper in between? I don't know. Right, is that going to be the right? I don't know. I don't know what to do there. Sorry, I'm completely out of frame, aren't I? You can't see what I'm doing. Yeah, because these are quite a lot longer than I must have mismeasured completely. I'm going to need to trim the edges, so I'm just going to go for it and trim them down. So if I make sure that you know, the top page is the right width. That's well within range. And trim some off of each page. Then I can always tear a bit more off later to stagger the pages a bit more if I want to. So let's do that one the same, and then I can refold some of these as well. Now this one's torn anyway, so that'd be okay to take a bit off there. Right, so let's see how these are now if I refold some of them. So that's the middle one. How's that looking? That one's okay. So I keep moving it out of frame, don't I? That one's going to be okay width-wise. It needs to have a little bit off the height. I want this to be quite an organic book. I want it to be quite scrappy and look a bit strange. Right, I said I wasn't going to tear that off, but I don't like it, so I'm going to now. That's going to come off there. So that piece should be okay. So what's everybody else working on at the moment? I went through a whole list the other day of things that I'm planning to be doing. I've got such a long list of journals I want to make. I don't know how I think I'm going to fit them all in. But at least I will never run out of things to do. And then I was watching Claire from Purple Poppy. I think it was yesterday. I've lost track of what day it is. And she's making an interesting journal at the moment with a quilted cover. And as I'm an ex-quilter, well, no, I'm not an ex-quilter. I can't say that. I have made quilts, but I am by no means really a quilter. I love it. I love doing the patchwork and the quilting, but it takes so long, and I'm a bit scared of my sewing machine. I don't know if I've mentioned that before on here. I had my sewing machine for about, I must have had it 10 years now, and I've made a couple of quilts using my machine, but I'm a bit scared of it, and I like to do things, I always liked to sew by hand, and I think it's because I felt a bit more in control. But since I've started making junk journals, I use my sewing machine all the time, I'm not frightened of it at all when I'm sewing paper. It's only when I'm sewing fabric. I have no idea what that's all about. But yeah, so this journal caught my eye because I could see she posted a picture on, I think it was on Instagram, showing a sneak peek, and I spotted straight away that there was a bit of quilting there. And then, as I say, I watched her video yesterday, and she's used an old quilt and cut it up to make the cover of this journal. And it's, you know, I can almost feel how lovely and squishy that is. And I was just thinking, oh, have I got any old, like, partially finished quilts that I could use? But I don't think I have. I used to go to a sewing class every Friday morning. This was, well, it was before I started home educating my girls. So, and my youngest was 8 when I started homeschooling her, and she'll be 21 this year. So what's that? 13 years ago. So I probably went to this class 15 years ago, and I joined because it was advertised as a patchwork and quilting class, but it was one of these, you know, adult education classes. But it was actually much better than that, because the lady that ran it used to sort of bring a different project for us to try every week, and it was different sorts of quilting, or we did some couching, which I'd have been terrified. All of these things I'd have been terrified to try on my own. I just wouldn't have had the confidence. But when you're there with another group of ladies and you're all trying something for the first time, it's fun. And I had planned to make a quilt for my youngest daughter, and that was why I'd started going to this class. And I did start a quilt for my daughter while I was there, but not the one I planned, because when I first joined the class and the teacher asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I wanted to make this quilt and I wanted to do it by hand, she introduced me to, I think it was a Japanese method of quilting, and it was all circles, and it was like a quilt as you go thing. So each, you got a square, you got a circle and folded it into a square over the top of another piece of fabric, so that you had one piece of fabric showing in the middle, and then it had a border of the second fabric around the edges. And you made each square individually by hand, and you had a little bit of wadding in between each fabric as you were folding it to make these squares, so that you ended up with each square in the right shape with the pattern in the middle, and it all quilted, and then at the end you could just join them all together. It was brilliant. So I started merrily away making this quilt, and you could bring your own projects to work on each week, or you could do the whatever the project was that the teacher had found for us that week. So I did this quilt for a couple of weeks, and then I was like, I want to do what everyone else is doing. I want to try all these other lovely things that everyone's doing. So the quilt went out the window, and I've got a box now in the garage of about, I don't know how many unfinished projects. I started at these classes. I never had time to do it when I was at home, which is why I joined a class, because then I thought I've got dedicated time each week to work on this thing. And I've just ended up with this big box of unfinished fun projects to go back to at some point. So I thought, I wonder if there's anything in there that I would, you know, that's sort of half finished. There we go. That's how that's looking now that I've trimmed the edges. I think I am going to have to trim them a bit more when they're sewn in, because when they're in, they're going to stick out even more. So what I might do is sew them in and then go through and trim them a bit more, because they'll be settled then where they're going to be, and it might make it a bit easier. I'm just deciding whether I want any more pages in there, because that's obviously not very thick at the moment. But then again, the idea is I'm going to be putting something on every page, which is probably going to bulk it out a bit. So I think that will probably be okay. So now I've got to work out how I'm going to sew them in with this piece of fabric. So I think I'm going to sew them onto the fabric and then stick the fabric to the cover. I think that's my plan. I've got all these little strips here now. I'm going to have to find something to do with them. I have to find another project to use all these up. So that'd be fun. So right now I need to concentrate. So yes, I'm hoping that I'm going to go through my box of unfinished projects and find something that I might be able to use as the cover for this journal, that not this one, the one that to make one like Claire's making. But I've got to finish this first. I mustn't keep starting things because I've already got 2 other journals to finish. So yes. Now I'm just wondering if this is going to be wide enough, because it does fit on the spine beautifully, but when I've got my signatures in, is there going to be enough at each side to hold them in securely? I don't know, but I'm going to go for it and see. I feel like I'm living dangerously at the moment with this journal. I keep saying, oh, I'm just going to have a go and see, and it's very unlike me. So I'm just going to mark where I can feel on this piece of fabric that the book folds, so I know how much room I've got. Let's just make sure that that's in the right place. Maybe I should have clipped that. That might be an idea, mightn't it? Stop it moving around. Ah. Right, so now I need to snip that piece off at the top. Then I'm going to fold this in half so that I will know where the middle is. That's where my middle signature is going to go. I'm just marking all this with pencil because it won't show once everything's in, and it will wear off. And then I need to find, oh, I don't really, because my folds is just a little bit beyond there and just a little bit beyond there. I've got this centered on the 10-inch line. So if I draw a line at 9.5 and 10.5, that's where my signatures can go. If I can get the ruler straight. What's wrong with me today? Now, I'll tell you what I have forgotten to get out is my book that I use to put underneath everything while I'm punching holes. So I shall need to go and grab that in a second. So let me know if you're finding this interesting or not. I mean, I can probably tell by, if people start turning off halfway through the video, then I'll probably get the message that it's not interesting. Now, I hope the light's all right, because it's a lovely sunny day here, but the clouds do keep going over. I don't really want to put the electric light on, so I'm hoping that there's enough light here and you can see what I'm doing. It looks okay on my iPad screen, but yeah, I just hope it's all right. So now I'm just thinking, because I normally measure everything and my papers are normally the same size, it's quite easy for me to know exactly where to punch my holes. But all those bits of paper are different sizes. So, don't quite know what I'm going to do about that. Right, I'm just going to go and get my book that I punch holes into, and I'll be back in a sec. Right, back again. Got my book. So, what I think I'm going to do is, on the centre of each page, I'm going to put a hole right in the centre, and then a hole 2 inches above and 2 inches below. And I know that won't catch all of the papers because they're different sizes, but I think it will be okay. I think it will work. Now this measures, let's do it on here. This little piece of fabric measures 9 3/4 inches. So if I slide that along, so there's like an 1/8 on each side. Oh, it won't go. Karen, just fold it in half. Oh, I don't know what's going on with my brain today. Don't do what I just did in the first place. Right, so I folded that in half so I can find the, she says she can find the centre point, the centre line. Right, so this is the middle. So all of my middle bits are going to go here. So I need to mark that just across there like that. And then I want to go 2 inches up here, and 2 inches down there. And if you hadn't guessed, I'm doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I need 3 holes on each, for each signature. So where's my paper tool? So this is my middle. So I need a hole there. I mean, it's not going to really matter in this fabric because it's linen. It's got holes in it anyway. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes, you can. And a hole there, and a hole there. So I don't know if you can see those holes, but these are my 3 lines down where my signatures are going to be. and then this is going to be the first hole for each line, as long as I've thought this through properly. So another 3 there, and another 3. Oh, can't see the middle line there. There. So that's my spine. So then now for each signature, I feel quite daring doing this. Isn't it silly? I'm a Virgo, so normally everything has to be just so. So this is really different for me to just be doing it. You're probably all thinking, what's the matter with you? It's only paper. And that's very true. It is only paper. So I'm just trying to clip these because they're all different sizes so they don't move while I'm trying to measure and make holes. So in this one, my middle piece of paper is 9 and 1. Oh, it's a horrible size. Right. So I'm sliding this down so I can cheat to make it easier. Oh, actually, maybe I should be looking at the longest page. Right, so I'm going to mark this at, what's that, 10 1/4, I say 5 1/8, which is there. And then if I just leave that to 5, I want a mark 2 inches above and 2 inches below. I hope this is not too painful to watch. I do apologise. So when it's something I've never done before, I don't know if this is, you know, going to be so tedious to watch, or whether you're finding it interesting to see what on earth I'm doing. Right, so they've come through roughly where they need to be. 1. That seems to have moved. 2, 3. So that's that one. Where's my middle one here? I watch other people sew their signatures in without all the faff that I normally do, and I just think, how can they do that? They're just so, they just do it. Right. See this one, I can see the longest one there is 11. So half 11 is 5 1/2. So 2 that way is 3 1/2, and 2 that way is 7 1/2. So let's make those holes. So that's one in the middle. I can feel these papers moving as I'm fiddling about. One at the top and one at the bottom. That's that one, and then the final one. I'm really sorry if this has been really tedious. Please let me know. what you think. Have you ever done anything like this? Oh, I've lost my front one. Right, so, do I have any more clips? This is not clipping everything as neat and tight as I would normally, but oh, I've only got one clip there. At least it's helping things not move while I'm fiddling about like this. So I'm going to do the same again here. 5.5, 3.5, 7.5, and make the holes. One through there, one through there. This paper is much easier to get through than, oh dearie me, that's moved a long way. I think I better try that again. Yeah, the paper's much easier to get through than the papers I normally use, but I do normally have, you know, designer papers or something in my signatures as well, so. Right, well that was interesting. So now I'm going to sew my signatures in. Now I do have waxed loom thread, but because this is all about recycling, I'm going to use what I've already got. Now you might be able to tell from this, I used to be a big cross stitcher, and these are all my lovely embroidery threads. But a lot of them, where I've cut them to store, are too short now to use for sewing in signatures. So, which is a shame. But I have got another idea that I might do a cross stitch cover at some point on a journal. So, now that white would be long enough, but I don't think I want white. Let's see what we've got here. Maybe I should have done this off camera as well. Right, now these are a little bit longer. Could use that colour. Or this is like a propery. Why can't I speak today? Oh no, that's too short. Might come back to that one. They're too slippery because they're like silky, satiny type threads, very slippery, so don't think they would be a good choice for sewing in signature. Oh, now I wonder if one of these would do. I wonder if I've got enough of that. Let's have a look. Let's pull these out. Come on. Because these are almost used up, so it would be nice to use them and finish off, you know, it's something gone that's just sitting here taking up space at the moment. So it would be quite nice if I could use these. Because there's not many here, it's quite difficult to get them out. That one won't be long enough. Right, I'm just going to pause the camera while I sort this out because this must be so tedious to watch. Hello, I'm back again. Right, I've got 3 pieces of thread. I could only get 2 pieces that were long enough in that first colour. So I've got a 3rd piece that's in a slightly different colour. And now I'm going to have a go at this and see how it comes out. So I'm going to go in through the middle hole on my papers. go in through the middle hole on my spine fabric. Then I'm going to go up to the top hole and in to the top hole of my papers and try and come through all of them. Now this is where, because these are not clipped properly, it's going to be tricky to get through all the papers in one go. Right, so we're in. And now I'm going down to the bottom hole, which I can't even see. So I've gone through the bottom hole of my papers and I'm going in the bottom hole of my spine, all on that first line. And then going back in the middle hole, hopefully. So this project is ideal for somebody who's never made a junk journal before and doesn't want to spend money on, you know, buying things in case they don't enjoy it as much as they expect to. You know, you don't want to waste money buying stuff for a new craft if you're not sure if you will continue. So this is a brilliant project to do because you're basically using stuff that would go in this recycling bin. Now in that middle there you can see I've come up on either side of that string, and I need to just now tighten all these strings so that everything is held into place firmly. And I'm hoping I have gone through all my papers in the right places. So because I didn't have these clipped really tight, I'm just making sure that I have actually gone through all my papers. And now I've just split this thread. You need to make sure you need to try and make sure that you don't go through your thread when you're sewing, so that because otherwise you won't be able to tighten them. So what I mean by that is, if your needle needs to come up either side of your thread, if you come through, I can't do it now. If you come through here, say, it will tangle your strings and you won't be able to tighten everything up. So that's nice and tight now. So I'm just going to tie a knot in this. For now, I'll decide what I'm going to do with these lengths of string afterwards, whether I'm going to do anything decorative. I'm just going to fold my pages. Now you can see here some of my holes in my paper are not great. They're a bit baggy. They're not neat. This is nothing like my normal work. It's because this paper is so thin and because I didn't have it all secured when I was punching my holes. The paper was moved a bit as I've been doing it. But as I say, I wanted this journal to be organic and a bit messy and a bit different for me. So I don't really mind that that's happened. It's not something I would normally do. As I say, this is just for me, and I'm just doing something different for a change. So, you know, don't worry if you ever happen to purchase a journal from me, it won't be like this one. Right, try and thread the needle on camera. Yay, that bit went right. And you can see I haven't even worried about which order I've got my signatures in that I would normally do. I'm just going with the flow. So again, I'm going in through the middle hole. Now this grey paper that I said wasn't very sturdy is already tearing. So I really don't know how this is going to stand up, you know, over time. But I feel I've committed to this journal now. I need to finish it. And even if I do end up making another different book to use for all my ideas, I just feel like I need to finish this now. I've started, so I'll finish. Right, so I've gone in the middle hole through the papers and my fabric, and then I'm coming back out through the top hole. And I'm just turning that round so I can see where I'm going now again. I think I need to come in and mark where I need to be again with my needle. So, where are you? Where are you? Come on, needle, come through. Half of me thinks I would have been better off with these papers not punching the holes first, just literally going through with my needle because they are quite thin. So now I'm going back down to my bottom hole. I can find my bottom hole. And through there, and I think my thread's got stuck somewhere. Come on, thread, come through. And then I'm going back into that middle hole again, and like I say, I'm trying not to split. I can see, I think I have done there. So I'm just going back and coming through again. So that's the second one done. I feel like this journal is not a very good advert for my work. But hey ho, don't try, you never know. So I'm just tying that off again in the middle, and that's my second signature in. So I'm just going to fold these papers. And you can see there I've got plenty of space on my spine between the first and second signature for the journal to bulk out and grow. So that's good. And then the last one. So once I've sewn this last set of signatures in, all I will then need to do is glue the fabric spine to the cover, and then my pages will be attached to the book. Now I don't know why I've got a crease there. Is it just because of the way they're sitting? Hopefully. So you don't get that with I've gone in the top hole. I didn't want to do that. Working with a card spine, there's much less moving around of everything, so it's much easier to keep things neat and tidy. I don't know if I would do this again or not. I don't think I would use the packaging papers again as pages. Maybe it would have been better to, you know, stick two together, you know, so a bit more body about them. I don't know. The fabric spine, obviously it's not in yet, so I don't know for certain, but I like the idea of that, so maybe I would do that, but maybe put the fabric on a piece of card first so that it was a bit more sturdy. I don't know. I'll see how it goes. Once everything's in, I'll see how the book sort of functions, and then decide. But as I say, it was an idea. I needed to do it. You know, you need to try these things. So that needs to come up on the other side. And I'll just quickly show you on the spine here. You can see my two different colours of thread that I've used to sew the signatures in, but that won't be noticeable particularly in the journal, even though the threads are coming out through the middle page. They do coordinate, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. So make sure they're secure. And tie those off. So I feel like this video has taken forever. I might have to go back and maybe fast forward some bits. I'm not a good editor. I don't do editing. I'd rather just come on and do it, and if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. But I think I can work out how to speed a bit up. So I might do that when I see exactly how long this video is. Obviously, you watching this will know if some of it's all have been sped up, because it will already have been. But at this point, I don't know if I've done that yet or not. So, right, what I'm quickly going to do now then is stick this into my book. So let's get the glue. Excuse my arm, grabbing my bag of glue, my bag of sticky stuff. And let's see if this is going to flow today. I'll get my wipe. Right. Yes, it is flowing. So let's just get some glue down here in the middle. What that noise was. I don't know if you could hear that. Something has just gone bang somewhere. Right. I'm just trying to centre this as best I can. I'm just doing the middle bit first. I'll add some more glue. Now this needs to come over slightly. I'll add some more glue to the edges once I'm happy with the placement. So I'm having to stand so that I can look and you know, from above and see how well centred that is. So now I'm definitely going to have to trim the height on my pages now that I've done this. I think that's just about in the middle. So now half of me thinks it wasn't a good idea to do something that I've never done before on a new YouTube channel, because it could really put a lot of people off, because it looks like I don't have any idea what I'm doing, let's be honest, because I haven't done anything like this before. On the other hand, maybe it's a good idea to do these things while there's not many people watching. So right, just going to need a little bit more glue on the edge, I think, but I don't want to make too much mess while I've still got to you know, fiddle with it, manoeuvre. Right, I'm sitting down again now. So I think I'll leave it there for today. We'll let this dry and see what it looks like once it's dry, and then I will come back on, show you what it looks like, and give you my conclusion whether this was in fact a good idea or not. But there you go, look, the pages are in. It is a complete book. It might not be the prettiest book in the world. It definitely needs a bit of attention with the pages and everything, but as I said, this was a complete departure from the norm for me. I haven't measured anything, you know, I've just literally gone for it. So I'll leave it there for today, and I'll come back and we'll have another look at it once it's dry and decide whether that was a yay or nay. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope it wasn't too boring today, and I hope you will join me again next time. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.